Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 56. Let's jump into things. Okay, so, pretty big turn for us. Let's gloss through the things. We've summoned Yetis, great. We did an augury, which found a smoldering maze. This is actually pretty nice. This puts our... this is one fire gem. I think this puts our fire up to 10. We'll take a look here in just a second. We got a battle in Trackless Wastes. And we have a battle in Delca. What do we want to watch first? Let's watch the other fights first. We've got a battle between Lanka and Yomi, so let's watch this real quick. This is Lanka on Yomi's cap, and there's basically nothing here because Yomi basically has the majority of everything that they have out in the field. So Lanka is able to come in and just basically yoink the cap. They actually do lose a Raktapatas. That's unfortunate. And then we have a battle between Pan and Kailasa in Kailasa. So, this is probably the majority of what remains of AI Kailasa's forces. AI Kailasa has done actually an amazing job fending off Pan for as long as it's had. It's been like 20 turns fending off Pan, and I don't just mean like, oh, he was so big that it took Pan 20 turns. No, Kailasa, like AI Kailasa, actually took locations back and raided and actually beat some armies just because it massed crazy amounts of shit. And of course, Pan's been dealing with other scenarios this entire time. This is not a reflection on the Pan player. They've done a great job. But all things must come to an end. So, we've got Serpent. We can see, right? We've got a Serpent Blessing that comes up. We've got a Foul Vapors that comes up. So, we know Pan is there. Basically, right where we are at now at this point. Pan has access to Foul Vapors, has access to Serpent's Blessing, has access to Creeping Doom. Right, we can see, so that means they also have access to mass protection. Pan is basically a larger, stronger, and more researched version of us. So that's gonna be unfortunate. Part of the upside of that is we've got some tricks up our sleeves that Pan probably doesn't have. But again, Pan has some tricks up their sleeves that we do not have. So, bunch of stuff going on there. They Foul Vapors this battle down, basically. And they probably would have won regardless. So. Easy peasy. What is these last things that Kailasa has? He's got a Yaksha, 2 Yakshas, some Gurus, the Holy Capuchin. This is their god. This guy's kitted out in some weird shit, but he's got stuff. He's casting Magma Bolts, Shrink, Fire Blast. He's killing people. Shockwave. He's ethereal, and he's mist formed. And he's actually about to fatigue out, is what he's about to do. Shockwave can just decimate people. Immolation, holy shit. Yeah, that's a... Oof. Damn. But he had too much fatigue on him. Guys. So he had Phoenix Fire. That's pretty cool. Okay, so Pan takes Kailasa. Now, Pan does lose a fair amount doing this, though it is mostly chaff. And as you can see, he's actually got some yakshas here. So I'm assuming these are probably from seductions. Okay? Which is cool. Though I don't think they really get him too terribly much that he doesn't already have access to. I guess maybe higher base Earth, probably. Which is concerning. Okay, so let's take a look at the trackless wastes. Okay, so this was the little ghoul army right to the east of us. As we moved away, they moved in, and we do not have much province defense here. Fortunately, ghouls aren't the greatest. They do have a paralysis, but they die pretty easy, and they don't have great stats, and they actually do have morale, so our base giant units are able to rout them. Okay, and then we have a battle in Delka. In the left corner, big ol' army. In the right corner, is this gonna be like turn 3 of nothing? Nope. Oh shit. Okay, that's definitely not a turn 3 of nothing. That's a big boy. So we're gonna do a big overview. We're gonna watch as things go down. All right. Whew, the communion comes up. The wolves are rushing out in force. Everyone is holding, and oof. Okay, so foul vapors is up. We get our divine blessing. We get fanaticism up. We can see on the south side, the buffalo just go rushing in, and there's fog warriors. Great. And he's got this kind of like just long spaghetti noodle of an army going on right now. We've also got relief up, right? And pretty shortly we're gonna have howl up now. So now we've got some distractions coming in from the side as far as wolves go. We can see in the north we've got our mushushus wrapped around, and they're doing a pretty good job, but unfortunately they're also up against some yomis, and that, or not yomis, some dionis, and that is not going to be a good thing. You can see down here on this bottom side, it looks like most of our buffaloes have been slaughtered. They do a good job, but unfortunately they also press in, and then they get surrounded, and then they get butchered. So things are looking a little bit dicey, except are they looking dicey? Look at how many co-onis are gone, and look at the routes. Foul Vapors did exactly what we thought it would do. It is consistently popping the co-onis across the board, and this is basically just final rest, final rest, just this spam of final rests. Our god in the background decides, hey, it's time to do some creeping doom, and just like creeping doom, like back to back to back. And we see the Yomi army just shatter and run. Final rests is taking out people as they go. We can see we've got mushushus. We lost a lot of mushushus, but we've got a group of mushushus still up, still alive, fighting. We surround some onishugos and are slowly but surely taking them out. We can see these two onishugos are getting kind of like bogged down by wolves and other things. Our mushushus up here or way at the back are picking off units as they run forward, right? This Onishugu also gets caught. I don't know if he was like paralyzed or if he just kept repeatedly like sticking. But he gets surrounded and is now going to get chunked. This one is running. But these mushushus see it. They finish killing everything else, and they rush for him. So now he has mushushus in between him and escape. This Onishugo is in ghost form, and he gets... just as we go back over to this Onishugo, and he goes... Wow, this is actually taking a while. He goes... Pop! To that Mushushu, and it's like, oh no, and... Then he goes pop, basically. So, that is a victory for her. A victory for her. Now, how, obviously, right, just watching that battle in a big overhead, a lot of his forces routed. How many of his forces routed is the question. And what did we lose to achieve that victory? Obviously, it looks like we lost most of our Mushushus. Looks like we lost all of our Buffalo. But what about our mages? What about the core of our army? Etc. So, we lost 67 units. We lost a single Crystal Sorceress, and we'll look into that. We lost all 27 of our Buffaloes. We lost 2 Inkies Chosen, and these are our Sacreds, so pretty good ratio on that. We lost 15 of our Spear Guards, so about a third of our Spear Guards. Pretty good ratio on that. We lost 8 of our 11 Mushushus. That's a harsh blow. They killed 61 units. So they did a lot of work, and to lose so many of them is painful. We have been using them as kind of this hammer. We might need to stop doing that. We've had them on attack rear for so long. We might need to maybe like keep them in the center so that they can just hold the center and stop getting, because they get surrounded, right? Is part of the problem, and then they get popped. I mean, even though they have unsurroundable 1, right? Like, if they're on the flank, they're still gonna get a few too many people around them, and eventually they're gonna go down. But maybe if we start using them as center pieces, let's see. And then we lose 8 Urguard, so we lose a bit of chaff. We lose all of our Buffalo. The Buffalo and Enkidu Spear Guards do count for the majority of our losses. We barely lost any mages in all, just a single Crystal Sorceress. What did we get? Holy shit. We got a lot. We got a whole lot. And this does not account for retreats. Now, it is probable that he did not lose very much on the retreat. He had 2 available provinces. But it is possible that he lost maybe another 20 to 30 on the retreat, etc. So, what did he lose? Kept both of his Dionis. That's unfortunate. Lost all 3 Demon Generals, all 2 of his Demon Priests, and his High Priest. He lost 8 of his 13 Onishugos. That is a big deal, because these guys have gear. They are casters. They generate wolves. They are strong thugs, just inherently. He's only got 5 out of this big army left. It is a big deal. He lost Shura. He kept the 3 werewolves. He lost some Amano no Jakus. He lost a quarter of his Ao-Onis. He lost most of his Bakemono shows. We knew that would happen. He lost all of his Blood Guard. He lost a little less than half of his Ko-Onis. And I honestly would say that the only reason he only lost about half of his Ko-Onis is because the rest of them fucking ran real quick. And that's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal. Lost a good portion of his overall amount of Kuro-Onis. Lost most of his militia. Probably would have lost all of them, except for they broke very early on. Lost a quarter of his Onis. Lost all of his wolves. I think he had actual wolves there in addition to the free spawn wolves. He lost a lot. He lost over half of his army. We lost a fifth of ours, I guess. Yeah, we lost like a fifth of ours, a little more than a fifth. That's a big deal. That's a pretty big victory. So let's watch this again and we'll point out some specifics. Okay, so one thing to note is, again, right, this Mushushu scenario, like, these are incredibly powerful, incredibly expensive sacrets that we have. We have done a very bad job throughout the game of keeping on to them. So, if we held on to, I don't think we've missed a single turn. By the way, it's turn like 55. I think we've summoned every single turn, so we would have like 50 plus Mushushus at this point, and 50 plus Mushushus I think could take on a whole fucking lot. Like, just holy shit. So that's something that we need to make sure we're doing in the future, is make sure that we're not just getting these guys killed. They do a lot of work. We need to think about how to protect them a little more. The buffalo, if we flip back out real quick, the buffalo killed almost as much as they had, right? Which is, you know, it's not the greatest ratio. But again, I think one of the power points of the buffalo is when you get regeneration on them. We do not currently have regeneration, so that is one issue. But I think they still do their job in soaking up a lot of attention and a lot of time. Why is that buffalo horror marked? What? What is wrong with this buffalo? What the fuck happened to it? I don't know. Anyways, another thing to note immediately right off the bat is the placement of our mages here at the front, right? We've got a couple of mages that are very close to being undefended. And considering that this mass of wolves just comes out, that's a little bit dangerous, okay? So we get our fanaticism off right off the bat. We get our divine blessing off right off the bat. We're gonna take a look here. Is fanaticism only a +1? I thought fanaticism was a +4. Oh. Huh. Okay, we'll take a look at that here in a second. But wolves come out. We get our buffs pretty much across the board. We see some Marble Warriors come out. We see Mass Protection come out. Foul Vapors comes out. Now, we did lose a single Crystal Sorceress, and I kind of want to know why. Well, I know why, but I kind of want to show why. So we've got Foul Vapors up. This is pretty decent timing. It's early enough that we haven't been fighting for an extended period of time. The Buffalo actually did a really good job of getting into the thick of things and kind of screwing people up, truth be told. Again, I think our Mushushus kind of being out in this area, I think that's a bad choice. I think we put them in a block in the center and put infantry on the wings going forward. Okay, so what I want to note is, we're down here, yeah. So this is our Crystal Sorceress. This is our Fog Warriors Crystal Sorceress. She is communioned up. She has done Power of the Spheres, and she is the one that dies. And she's actually the one that dies because she's like, and I don't really know how, because everyone around her gets hit with Poison Ward. But she does not. So she unfortunately just dies to Foul Vapors because she doesn't get poison warded, which is really unfortunate. You can see there's so many Ko-Onis that are popped. Now some of them, keep in mind, it doesn't, Foul Vapors doesn't just hit everywhere on the entire map immediately, right? It's not every turn you take poison damage on the map. What it is all these green puffs right? That puff, that's a puff of poison, right? And if you're in that puff of poison, then you potentially get hit, right? So that's why you'll see like large swaths of Ko-Oni that aren't dead, but then you'll see other big chunks that are. And they just get decimated. You can see like as soon as groups start to die, Final Rest just gets spammed out over and over and over again. And they lose so many people from it that they just drop. They rout. The Mushushu do a great job back here dealing with everything. Holding up all of these Onis and Kura Onis, and I think the Amanajakus or whatever were over here. And they held up the Dionis as well, right? Continuously, this has been a thing. We've been able to hold the Dionis and not really let them get into the thick of things. Now we lose the majority of our Mushushus for that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a victory. All right, this is a good win for us. This is very exciting. This is a very good win. So we're done with that. What else do we have going on? We had an unexpected event. Some unnecessary laws have been abolished, so we gained turmoil and gained unrest in the Fever Pens. And then we had defense. Many commoners have volunteered for the militia. So we have plus 15 defense in Koenberg. This actually puts us at 35, which is pretty funny. And then we did some patrolling. So Koenberg, 35 defense. This, unfortunately, like, I almost kind of wish, like, legitimately, I wish Elders did defense all the way up to, like, 50. And here's my reasoning why I wish they did defense all the way up to 50. Because 20 doesn't matter. 20 doesn't matter for so many things. 20 doesn't matter for a basic raiding party. 20 doesn't matter for a light thug. 20 doesn't matter for a lot of things. And it's just, province defense is a mechanic that I'm just like, I wish there was more out of it. I wish you could like customize your province defense or set like a basic script for your province defense. That would be so cool, right? If you could like come in here and this was your army, your army setup for your province defense, and so you could like position your actual province defense. And that would be really cool. That would make it to where province defense wasn't just manipulated trash all the damn time, right? Because you could be like, oh, well, this is militia, it's not very good, but we could put this cavalry on like a flank attack and put it off over on the side, and maybe we just like post up in a corner and I don't know, right? Like, there's a lot that you could try to do, though. Well, this is Deer Tribe, they're just gonna die. This is Wolf Tribe, right? We can, I don't know. It's so inconsequential it would probably never amount to anything, but for me I think it would be a cool mechanic, especially in something like this in your own territory, right, where you get a mage. Like, let me script this boy, let me script him, be fun. All right, what's going on this turn? Okay, let's talk about board state. That was a big victory. We know that it was a big victory. We knew that it would be a big victory if we won it. So, we talked about this previously, the concept of if we win, right, we need to win strong, because if we don't, then Lanka might just be able to roll over the rest of Yomi and potentially roll over us, right? So, fortunately, we did have a good victory there. We have communicated with Lanka, and we have talked about the concept of divvying up the spoils. Now, unfortunately, Hinam has kind of butted into the mix. They have started vulturing some of the land from Yomi. I am hopeful that through simple negotiation, they will, rather than starting a fight with either Lanka or me, they will just take what they are being offered and move on from there. So, I believe Lanka has offered Hinam to take 142 and 123. I am going to try to take 175, 154. We've already taken Trackless Wastes. I'm going to try to take Verdant Step as well. This is not a lot, mind you, right? This is Delka, I think, technically was Yomi's, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provinces. However, it also affords us Alluvia, Javalkish, and Green Waters as well. Okay? In the concept that I will be on this side of them, it's going to be easier for me to take them, control them, etc. Right? So, that is the generalized plan. But just because we beat Yomi in that battle does not mean that Yomi is completely done. We've got issues, right? And one of those issues is that while we killed a lot of their army, right, 303, they've still got another, 241 units, right? That's still a lot. However, they have lost a great deal more than us, and what is the root of our strength is still there. Part of the issue, though, is after speaking with Lanka, they also have another force here in Silver Grove. A force of about 170 or so mixed scenarios. Again, they don't have much left, so that means that we are taking another very risky gambit by moving into 175. We are moving into 175 after basically having resupplied, adjusted our scripting, putting gems back on people, etc. And if so, the concept, right? I talked to Yomi about this, and Yomi, admittedly, they said this themselves, that they were kind of taking the cowardly way. But I do not want to give Yomi the chance to reconsolidate and continue to fight us. So, I am risking this army in moving into 175 with the assumption that it's very likely that they try to consolidate their forces into 175. So, the question is going to be, can this army, which is a little weaker than it was previously, can this army take on a slightly smaller army? Because keep in mind, if he's sitting at 241, right, and he resupplies with 170 units, that's not going to be significantly smaller than this current army, the 144. So that's the question, right? Is without our buffaloes, without our 27 buffalo, without our 11 Mushushu, do we still win this? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. And again, I'm once again brought back to the should I have some Ishibs try to like make some water elementals, but no, because really the reason why we won was because we routed them, etc. Right? You know. So what the current game plan is we're going to try the same strategy. We are going to attack Wick. We are going to hopefully not catch a full army. Hopefully we're just going to catch a portion of an army. And slaughter said portion of an army. And Yomi, or Lanka rather, is going to be moving into Pharaoh Woods this turn in also the hopes of catching something, right? So whether they move from Wick into Pharaoh Woods, or whether they move from Pharaoh Woods into Wick and Silver Grove into Wick, hopefully we will catch them somewhere, right? Or if they moved into any of the other scenarios. If they move from Pharaoh Woods into Dragonscale Mountains in an attempt to kind of like circumvent getting caught, I don't know, we'll see. But generally speaking, we are going to be moving into Wick, and we're going to hope to beat them here and now. I do not know that that is going to work. I'm very worried about it, actually. But in the meantime, right, we're also going to be trying to go locking down our power, right? We want to try to take Verdant Steppe. I've got Elder 9 moving over there. He's probably going to die. I don't know that there is going to be anything here, but just in case there is, I actually have Gudu 43 Cloud Trapezing in with some personal gems. And he's just going to summon some lesser air elementals. This is a very low commitment attack. It's 5 gems, a single Gudu. If he dies, he dies. I hope that he doesn't. I hope that he's successful. It doesn't look like there's much going on here in Verdant Steppe. I know Lanka had hit it previously and stopped a building from going up. So that's a good thing. Just something to keep in mind, right? I am bringing Isham 1, the Yeti Shaman, over to Trackless Wastes. He is here to potentially raid and respond to scenarios. We'll see how it goes. We're doing some patrolling in Ial. We're going to try to get some patrolling going in, just do this, in Delka. We're going to try to get this land conquered, controlled, and moving on sooner rather than later. But we do have to be careful. There is the possibility that Yomi wins this next fight, or that they pull a fast one on us. It's possible that Lanka pulls a fast one on us, right? They know exactly where we're moving. So it's possible that they're like, let's also move there and try to destroy this army and then take everything from Yomi and leave her on the back foot. It's a possibility. Sometimes that happens. If that is the case, though, bear in mind, right? What happens if we lose this whole army? That's gonna suck. But actually, losing this whole army means that our income is going to skyrocket, because our upkeep is going to be cut by about a third, right? And that will be very useful in rebuilding if we so need to. So what else are we doing? We're getting another Gala. We're getting more Lizard Shamans. We're getting more Crystal Sorceresses. We are continuing to summon Yetis. And we're actually doing something a little new this turn. We are forging a couple, I think 4 in total, Rings of Water Breathing. And this is in anticipation of controlling alluvia and green waters. So what we would plan to do is take 4, 5 Ishibs, something like that, put Rings of Water Breathing on them, put water bracelets on them, and drop them into alluvia with a couple of water gems apiece, basically. Have them do something like summon water power and summon water elemental. Now, eventually, we can get to the point to where we do something like summon water power living water, right? Because living water, I mean, technically we could do this anyways, but efficiently we can do something like summon water power, living water, because that will put us at water 4. So that'd be pretty cool. Something to look forward to, right? This will make us a powerful underwater nation, in theory. But it's going to be a while before we are looking at something like Conjuration 7. But maybe not that long of a while. So we've got Thaumaturgy 7 will be done next turn. That gives us Serpent's Blessing. This is a big concern, right? We did watch... we lost a Crystal Sorceress because we didn't get a Poison Word off. That can happen. That could happen here. Again, that could happen way worse this time around. Who knows? So we want to get to the point to where we have Serpent's Blessing so that we can counteract that. Not only just because of this, but also because of Pan, right? Getting to the point to where we have Serpent's Blessing and are able to put Serpent's Blessing up on any person is a big deal, right? Because making sure that we can avoid that poison is very important. Another scenario is the consideration that we might start, we have not started this yet, but we might start forging some snake rings, right? So with a hammer, we can forge snake rings at 3 nature gems a pop. And if we are going to be going after... if we're going to be going after Pan, poison resistance is going to be a very important thing. Something like a snake ring and a headdress of the bull can go... The very cheap items, 6 total gems, can go a long way to make someone like... What do we got? So like NC6, right? Could go a long way to make him way harder for a Dryad to kill, right? So that is a consideration. And then, you know, it's just... These just good options. So what else are we doing? We're making more Ishibs. We've got a Gala here. We've got Ishib here with units. We've got Ishib here with units. We've got Crystal Sorceresses. We've got Lizard Shaman. We're going to have to be careful on the Crystal Sorceresses. Obviously, we want to have a good force of them. But they are a little pricey on the upkeep if we compare them to, like, a Gudu. Gudu is a little cheaper. They're sacred, right? Obviously, I think in this particular situation, the Crystal Sorceresses are more valuable to us. But the Gudus come with other benefits, right? They're priests. They have slightly more research ability. They're hardier. They're harder to kill. It's so Crystal Sorceresses are always going to be very important for us, but we've got to watch out and make sure we don't end up with like 40 of them and no economy. We are waiting in Kunaral because I wanted to put a temple there, but it did not get to its turn. Lightless Lanterns, Skull Mentor. We might be pausing on Skull Mentor soon. Let's talk about research very briefly before we end this episode. So we are going to be finished with Enchantment 7 this turn. We're going to do the run to Enchantment 8. There's just nothing else that's going to be more valuable immediately. We're going to do that. We're probably going to take a turn to grab Thaumaturgy 5. Thaumaturgy 5, it's us a couple of different things. Primarily, it gets us Soul Slay, and that can be very important. But it can give us some other options. One of them being Gift of Reason. Okay. After, and we might not even do that immediately, but we want to get Enchantment 8 first, then we kind of want to get Thaumaturgy 5, and we kind of want to get Evocation 5, because Evocation's going to get us Thunderstrike and Storm. And with our Crystal Sorceresses, we have a very easy way to get Storm up and then turn into a Thunderstrike nation. Because keep in mind, not only will the crystal sorceresses that are masters be able to Thunder Strike, but our air Gurus will be able to Thunder Strike as well. That's really powerful. So that's something that we really want to do. After that, though, it's kind of a toss-up. We could go Alteration, specifically trying to get to Alt 9 for Army of Gold and Army of Lead. That's definitely within our capabilities to cast. And it is very strong, right? It's an incredibly strong magic. Hitting everyone on your... Being able to do something like Army of Gold, Fog Warriors is... That's... Okay. That's not like a guaranteed win, obviously, but that's late game magic. That's good shit, you know? Alternatively, though, we have some other interesting options, and the other interesting option mostly lies in Conjuration. And that is because of the way our gems have ended up panning out, because we have a very high nature income, and because we have a very high death income, we can do some interesting things. If we go up to Conjuration 6, we can try through finagling, and what I mean by finagling is basically, I mean empowering our god, pretty much. Although I think actually we don't have to empower our god. No, yeah, we would have to empower our god. Or we'd have to empower someone in something, right? Is the situation. But regardless, if we wanted to go that route, we could empower our god, for example, in death, and then give him a skull staff, and then he could start contacting Lamia Queens. Contacting Lamia Queens would break us into blood, and potentially allow us to start doing blood stuff, which would be cool. Now, as a quick alternative, I will say I am going to be producing over the next couple turns, I am going to be producing some scouts in a couple provinces, and probably starting to blood hunt in Bell. Just because we actually have 29 blood slaves already. If we get lucky, we could get up to 50 to be able to empower someone sooner rather than later, and we have a couple of good prospects for doing something like that. This NC actually is a very good prospect for pumping in blood. One, because we can put stuff on him to where if he gets horror marked or whatever, he can potentially defend himself. But two, because he's got some decent cross paths for us to be able to go into water or to be able to go to nature blood is pretty good. But so we've got the possibility for Lamia Queens, okay? And at Conjuration 7, this is kind of the big one. We've got Mound Fiends, right? So we've got a Death 2. We lucked into a random on that. And a Death 2 with a Skull Staff can summon a Mound Fiend, who's a Death 3. So that Mound Fiend, in turn, if you give him the Skull Staff and you empower him, he is a Death 5. Death 5 can produce a Skull Cap and is suddenly a Death 6. So for 28 gems here, I think it's like 45 for the empowerment, and then like 40 for the Skull Cap, we have a fucking Death 6 mage. Okay? Oh shit, that's 100 gems. That's 100 gems. Well, we already have 78, and we're getting 16 a turn. And it's gonna take us a while to get there anyways. So, I mean, and when I say a while, I mean, if we hit all of the stops on the way that we're wanting to hit, we're potentially still looking at like 10 to 15 turns. Okay? 10 to 15 turns, the game could be fucking over by then. So this is a long-term plan, late-game plan, okay? So what would even be the point of doing that? Why would we go all the way down to something like Conjuration 7 to try to get this level or Path 6 Death Mage? Well, specifically, because Conjuration 8 is Well of Misery, and that's Death 6. So Well of Misery is 21 death gems each month and increases income worldwide by 10. And immediately after that, we have Tartarian Gate, which is Death 7. The Death 7 would be a little trickier to get to. We would either need to empower again, or we would need to finagle some things, get like a ring of sorcery, or I mean, there's a couple of different options. However, tarts are extremely potent late game options. But tarts don't really work unless you either have what is it, undead recuperation or whatever? Or is it undead recuperation? It's just, or is it just recuperation? I don't remember. If you either have it in your bless, or if you have Gift of Health. So, another thing that we're going to be getting next turn when we hit Enchantment 7 is going to be Gift of Health. So the question is do we turn around and try to put 100 nature gems into Gift of Health and see if we take it? Or do we save for 2 or 3 turns and try to put something like 150 or 200 gems into Gift of Health? And I think that's probably the better plan. I think our course of action... this fucking episode has turned into a long one, sorry. I think our course of action is to try to finish off Yomi and hopefully do it successfully and efficiently. Take those couple of turns to stockpile some nature gems. Dump 200 nature gems into Gift of Health. Continue to build up our infrastructure, right, of temples, etc., to press our Dominion, and then utilize Gift of Health and our death income to press into Well of Misery and Tartarian Gates. I think that's the plan. And I think that is a potential path to victory. I think it's unlikely. I think we're very unfocused in our research, and we're very behind the curve of where we should be. I think Pan has hit their marks, and they're going to dominate a lot of things over the course of the next 15 to 20 turns. And surprisingly, actually, I think Mictlan might be doing a fairly good job themselves of hitting their goals and opportunistically achieving gains. And I think they are likely probably going to be hitting some crazy blood shit pretty soon. I would not be surprised if we find them finding Heliophagai pretty shortly if they aren't already. So. Oh yeah, they're another person. They probably already have all the ice devils, don't they? I keep thinking, like maybe we can get the ice devils, but they're the person who every time I think about it, I'm like, someone can get those. They're the ones who can get those. Yeah. All right. Anyways, I think that is going to be it for the turn. This was a pretty big turn for us. The next couple turns and how everything finishes off, because let's be honest. Even if we move into Wick and we lose this next battle, Yomi is still finished, right? Lanka at this point has a sizable enough force to finish off whatever I am incapable of doing. And we'll probably do so happily, grabbing up the land that is available. So, we'll see how it goes. Yomi might be able to harm us in their last moments. Hopefully they don't. Fingers crossed. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.